I'm Deborah Baddoo. I'm Artistic Director of State of Emergency Productions. We're based in Somerset in Taunton, but we work nationally. We support the development of black choreographers and dancers, and we programme work, we commission artists to make work, we run festivals, professional development training, development work with young people. And so my brief is wide, but today I'm concentrating on the brief I was given, which is running a professional company, professional dance company. Okay, put my glasses on. Okay, so that's the title. This photograph is from one of our productions called Mission Possible, which was 2010. We worked with 5 young men on looking at issues to do with young men and boys. And we actually came to this theatre, I think. Okay, running a dance company is like running any other business, with even more work because you're intimately involved in the day-to-day operations, may also be choreographing or teaching in addition to overseeing all the operations. But you still need to have roles identified within the company. You need to have work plans, schedules, a 3-year strategy for the company, which includes your aim and a plan on how to reach those aims. It's always good to have a goal, so you're always working towards it. Do some research when you start up your company. Find out information about the running and operations of a company that you aspire to. See if you can arrange a visit to speak with the artistic director, company manager or administrator. Explore opportunities for work shadowing, as you'll learn a whole lot more by finding out what it actually means when working on the job. Contact the Arts Council to find a list of their funding companies and details of the organisations, and then call and arrange a visit. Most companies will be helpful and accommodating, and again, the state of emergency, we're based in Taunton. If anyone wants to come and spend a few days with us and find out the madness which is state of emergency, you're welcome. Set up your company as a business. You have to decide what model of company structure suits you best. It's best to get professional advice. It's also useful to go on short courses which will demystify the process. Courses like this are run by organisations such as ITC, the Independent Theatre Council, or contact your local business support unit, which will be part of the council, for free advice. You can set up your company initially as what is called an unincorporated group, and then register a bank account with 2 signatures. You'll need some kind of constitution that lays out your aims, who the committee members are, how often the committee meets. There will be nominal roles to fulfil, for example, a treasurer, chair and secretary with a group of this kind. These members will not have to be those actually working for your company, but it's advisable to get members with skills that would be useful to the company. For example, someone who's good at marketing or education or finance. And they'll also need to be great advocates for your work and spread the word about how brilliant you are to everybody they meet. Right, the aims of your company. In order to formalise the company and apply for funding, you'll need to create what's called a constitution, which has an overarching aim of the company, which is called a mission statement. And it will be based on what kind of company you are and what you want to do. For example, the Red Door Company aims to create accessible contemporary dance work for children, aiming to develop behavioural and social skills, and will deliver its performance work with an educational workshop programme. That's a quick example of an overarching mission statement for a company. You then have to outline how you go about doing this, the aims of the company, and those outcomes have to be measurable. For example, we aim to deliver 15 performances and 25 workshops each year to primary schools. When applying for funding, these outcomes will be important as they measure value for money and public funds, and what funding you may be given are essential for budgeting. And you can see I'm in the mindset of working with Arts Council funding, because we have to do this all the time. We have to account for how we spend public money, and we need to say what we're doing for the money and be accountable. Finance. You will need to set up clear accounting procedures from day one to monitor your income and expenditure and be sure that you stick to the laws regarding self-employment, tax, etc. It's good to ask around to get a good accountant who will help you with all this and make sure you have audited accounts at the end of each year, which most potential funders will ask to see before giving grants. Set up a bank account. Everybody wants to see good financial records. Next, this goes back to the beginning and the first slide about running a business. When setting up your company, you need to have clearly defined roles and responsibilities from the start, which will make for a much more effective, efficient and smooth running business. Ideally, you need to decide who's doing the financial stuff, the general administration, who's booking the tour, if you're touring, who's marketing your company, who's teaching, although obviously with a small company there'll be a crossover of some roles. Key thing, be organised. Make sure as a group you have a structure for each week, so you get all areas, all bases covered. For example, you need to be doing company class, you need to rehearse if you're touring a production, you need periods to create, time in the office for fundraising, marketing, making connections and developing projects. You may start out working from your front room, but as the company develops and you raise funds, you may be able to rent a small office or at least make friends with local arts organisations and see if you can have access to a hot desk. Also, keep your ears to the ground for these opportunities and that of any free space coming available. Communication. The key to running a successful business and to avoid misunderstandings both inside and outside the company is with regular team meetings. That way crisis can be avoided as everyone knows what each other is doing and you make sure that you're all working to the same aim. It's also extremely important to keep communicating externally with other organisations, networking meetings, etc., so that you're part of a bigger picture and not working in isolation and are aware of new developments and changes in the arts world, such as new possibilities of funding, new networks, potential partners, etc. Fundraising. This is a big part of your work. There are many potential sources of funding, but competition is fierce, make no mistake. There are trusts and charities. If you're outside Somerset, there are local authorities. And there is, of course, the Arts Council England. If you're looking for a sponsor, invite local businesses to performances. Invite local venue arts officers in local authorities. Familiarise yourself with Arts Council England and its funding streams. Nowadays, everyone has to think laterally when looking for funds. For example, using the company named earlier, Red Door, that works with children, as an example. Has your work with children got aspects that could be funded through education or health, for example, with the under fives? So you have to think of all the possibilities that might be available. And be creative and imaginative. Building relationships. Nobody can operate in isolation, and by joining groups and networks you can find out new developments, new funding sources, premises, and create an opportunity to work in partnership with another organisation if that is good for your project. For example, our current project, which is called Love and Sex, aka Permission, we're working in partnership with Z Arts in Bristol, with the University of Durham, their medical research unit, and also with the Station Arts in Bristol and Brook Sexual Health Advisory Organisation. So they've all contributed in some way in cash or kind towards the development of our production. Contact your local dance agency, for example Take Art or Pavilion Dance Southwest or local schools networks. There's potential to receive free rehearsal space in exchange for a workshop maybe, opportunities to platform your work and get feedback. Do your research and get to know what arts organisations are around you. Publicity and marketing. Think of exciting ways to spread the work about the company and build your audience through Facebook, YouTube footage, a blog. Use social media to communicate with as many people as possible and get a buzz going to build a following. Digital media is more and more sophisticated, and you need to ensure that you keep up with new developments and engage a wide audience as possible through these channels, as well as the traditional ones. Setting up a website is easier now than ever, and keep it populated with interesting stuff and link to your Facebook pages to generate interest and audience for your work. Okay, back to networking, but in a different way. Go and see other work and get feedback on your own. Go to dance events locally, regionally and nationally, and become part of the dance community to keep abreast of what's going on and new developments. The wider you throw your net, the greater the opportunities will be. Don't just keep to your local small community, as there is a limit to what might be possible. Start small, build confidence, and then network your circle wider, first regionally, and then if it works for you, be part of a national dance community. Organisations like Dance UK will offer all kinds of online support and advice. Evaluate your work. You need to regularly assess where you're going and what has or hasn't worked, and get feedback from others, friends of the company, dance professionals, arts officers, etc. are not willing to take risks with their audience when presenting a new company. However, start with a local platform event and invite people who may be interested in your work, as well as friends and family, to create an audience and build from there. Get quotes from audiences who've enjoyed your work, get local press to cover it, and then you can start building your profile. And film it as well, because it can be used as a promotional tool. On the strength and feedback of the local platform, build a 3 or 4 date local tour using all the marketing tools, and then get feedback from the audience and build from there. So you start with a small platform, get a few local gigs, and then develop it from there. Easy, eh? Touring. This is again our production from 2012. Desert Crossings. We toured this nationally. We also managed to take it to South Africa and to Germany. Touring is all about being organised, and there are many things to think about, as well as booking venues for tour dates. In the creation and rehearsal period, there are costs to cover for rehearsal space, travel, accommodation, lighting design, costumes, subsistence. Don't underestimate the many areas that need addressing. Before actually going on the road, it's important to really think about the logistics well in advance. There are many hidden things that can come up that you haven't budgeted for. This is where meeting with an established touring company's manager can really help. You really need to budget carefully to cover all these things on the road, as well as in the preparation period. You have to think about transportation, how you're going to get around, how you're going to move a set if you've got one, costumes. However, touring can open your eyes and you really develop and grow from this experience. But remember, it's definitely not glamorous. Budgeting. As I mentioned earlier, a good budget outline that covers all eventualities and monitoring of that budget is essential. Get assistance from a finance person. Do a basic budgeting course, for example, ITC again. Look up their website, they run lots of courses. Get information from the Arts Council's website. In addition to your touring budgets, you need your basic day-to-day budgeting for your company, and looking at income through teaching, small grants, as well as expenditure, looking at what it costs to rent your office, the light, heat, the administration costs, that kind of thing. Mentoring. In order to get more human, real advice and support, it's great if you can get a mentor. So approach a successful dance company manager to mentor you, to give you advice and support. Many established arts administrations or managers may be kind enough to offer you an hour a month talking with you through your company development and advising and signposting you to the opportunities and possibilities. In the arts world, there are a lot of people who are very generous with their time to assist the next generation of artists and arts managers. And again, I'm only in Taunton, so if you want to meet with me to talk about your potential careers, I'm happy to offer my time for that. Get experience. Going back to some of what the other people said, try and get a work placement or internship. We're actually just advertising for somebody at the moment. Working in an established dance company office, There are more and more paid internships since government legislation, and this is an ideal first step on the ladder and a very valuable one. These posts pay the minimum wage and sometimes more. Short work placements are also valuable, and rather than wait for your school to instruct you to do this, do your own research and make friends with a local arts organisation. I think it's in year 11 you have to find a short 1 week or so work placement, but it's more interesting if you make the effort in advance and get to know people and build a relationship rather than just parachute in for a week and go. This will look great on any funding application and stand you in good stead with regard to knowing the reality of working in the arts. And finally, have a long-term view. Rome wasn't built in a day, they say. It won't be an easy or a straightforward journey, and don't get frustrated with short-term setbacks. Running a successful professional dance company takes time, dedication and commitment. Don't be fooled. Thank you. Foolishly, I've forgotten to put my website up, but if you just look up State of Emergency on the website, you should get the details.